Are we dating the same guy? Facebook groups span the globe, and they're a safe space for women to support other women by sharing information to protect each other from men who might exhibit any type of toxic or dangerous behavior. Dr. Janie Lacy is a licensed psychotherapist, and she joins us with more this morning. Good morning, Dr. Janie.
Good morning, Kimberly.
So why do you think these Facebook pages are needed?
These Facebook pages are needed because when we think about over the past couple of decades, the dating apps have expanded the pool of partners. But what we also see is there's limitations to the verification that happens. So when we think about just from a psychotherapist perspective, women are often socialized to doubt their instincts and experiences, like I'm overreacting, these types of things. So this group to me is like this collective wisdom and validation when red flags appear that this can fill the gap by traditional support systems that may not understand the modern dating challenges. And I think, Kimberly, it's also important in the context of these groups, to say that 1 in 3 women experience some form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime. So these groups to me represent women taking proactive steps for their safety rather than just reacting to harm.
All right, so how can women recognize red flags when they're dating?
There's lots of red flags, but there's some common ones that I see that we can miss when we're excited and we're just out there and, you're looking forward to meeting the one. But you want to pay attention to inconsistencies between people's words and actions. And that means you have to be conscious and really be aware. And you want to notice how your date can treat service workers or talk about their exes and how do they handle minor frustrations. And there's another one, Kimberly, that we'll hear a lot in just social media about love bombing, right? So because people can be love bombed, it doesn't necessarily mean they're toxic. But when someone is toxic, they will love bomb. They'll give you excessive attention, gifts. They do the future faking. They'll talk about what it would be like to be married to you and have children. And then you want to watch for the attempts to isolate you from friends and family. That means they're consuming your time and they may not respect your boundaries, or they may pressure you to move quickly.
Then what can they try to break out of unhealthy relationship patterns?
From a therapeutic standpoint, you don't necessarily have to be in therapy, but to do things that can really increase your self-awareness. And that can be through therapy or through journaling or just constantly having a growth mindset. Because sometimes we can do things from this unconscious standpoint and we don't realize that sometimes we can have familiar patterns from our past, especially if we didn't date smart. So you can do this. Anyone can do this today. They can create a relationship timeline to identify maybe similarities in their previous partners. And I also suggest dating and implement dating a pause in their dating life so that they can also reset and reflect so they can see and recognize their own patterns in their relationships, but to establish clear boundaries and to practice maintaining them in relationship by I believe in having a support system. So having healthy girlfriends or healthy friends that can know what your boundaries are and help you just in case you get what I call drunk with love, so to speak, and they can keep you honest and address your childhood attachment wounds. If I have to say anything, that would be key. That's going to sustain you through the rest of your life if you understand where you were wounded at, because where we were wounded at would be the things that we're trying to heal in our adult life.
Well, Dr. Janie, just a few seconds left here, but how can women fix their picker and attract healthier relationships?
Couple things. They can define their non-negotiables before they even start dating. Understand what your non-negotiables are. And I suggest always creating a value-based approach rather than a traits-based approach when you're going into the dating world, so that you can have a good foundation and focus on emotional availability and consistency rather than intensity.
Really great insight. Love talking to you. We need to go out on a girls' wine night for dinner and just talk and talk and talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Lacy.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to connect with Dr. Lacy, you can follow her on Instagram.